Hey, all, welcome to Cross Politic on the Fight, Laugh, Feast Network. Pastor Toby Chuck Knox on the water boy. Is America in a sex recession? Parents, this should be an okay show for your kids, but maybe you should listen to it first, but it shouldn't be.
If the kids can't hear it, I can't hear it.
It might be rated PG-13.
Yeah,
okay.
maybe. But there's a recent study that came out by the Institute for Family Studies, IFS, basically documenting, through survey and research, that America is in a sex recession.
Which some of it seems like it was good and bad all at the same time.
Good. Well, because at one point they're saying, hey, young adults between 18 and 28 are not having sex.
Exactly. And I was like,
Unmarried sex.
Yeah, unmarried. Yes,
I was like, well, hey, all right, all right.
Do you think that might be attributed? So supposedly, and I'm very on board with this, but supposedly Gen Z is starting to come back to the church.
Sure.
So do you wonder if there might be a connection?
It could be a contributing factor.
Well, what else they got to turn to?
Right.
Right?
I mean, like
Liberalism.
It's not working. That's what they're saying. It's not working.
Yeah.
It's the trad life.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, hey, in the olden times,
Things
they
were
did
better.
this. They did this crazy thing where they didn't have sex till they were married.
Yeah. And they made their own butter.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything tastes better.
Yeah.
It's like,
Don't
hey.
Chip and Joanna have a show about this now? So the study, IFS study, it's talking about basically documenting. Apparently they do this like every 5 years or something. They've been doing this frequently.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's they've done a number one. This is the most updated study that came out. So the sex recession.
I mean, this is kind of weird. Like, let's just be frank.
I think this is mostly kind of through survey. So
I know, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Why is it weird?
How often are you having sex? Click. I hang up the phone.
No, if somebody called me on that,
It might
Send
be
me
like
an email. Click.
none of your business.
Delete.
Yeah.
Spam.
Well,
I'm just saying it's a little weird.
people might have gotten paid to fill it out. I don't know. I don't know what they did.
You do it for money?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's surveys stuff. If they pay me $25,000, no, I'm just kidding. So the study starts off saying,
Annie, we're
talking
sorry.
about sex recession.
We're so sorry.
Percentage of adults 18 to 64 who have had sex weekly or more has fallen significantly from look at 1990 numbers to it's like 20%.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that though.
Well, this isn't distinguishing between married and non-married. It's just percentage total.
Right.
No.
And given the lack of marriage,
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's
not
probably
like this
actually
marriage is high.
actually generally kind of a positive thing.
Yeah, right.
So there's two things.
Fewer people getting married.
Exactly. So that's exactly what I was going to say. There's two things that are good and one of them that's bad. Is it good that we are having less sex with people who are not married? Absolutely.
Yeah.
The question is, why is that bad? Right? Because it is bad because there's no drive that's inside of these people anymore. So they should be wanting to have sex when they get married, right? That's where they should place it at.
Right.
Sex is a good thing. It's good for a culture and society. It's bad when you don't see it in culture and society anymore, where it's like, I don't want to get married.
Right.
I think the sex is pointing to the fact that these people don't want to get married.
Yeah.
They don't see any value in marriage at all anymore either.
Right.
Yeah.
Because usually what sex does in a man is like, he sees a woman and she's attractive to him.
Yeah.
He says, I got to figure out how to get me one of those.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what he ends up doing is he's like, okay, I'll climb to the highest mountain. I'll go to the top of the peaks.
Yeah.
I will dig dirt until I find gold to get me her.
Yeah.
And through all of that desire that he has for a woman to be his wife, he creates value for the rest of society.
Right. This is how cultures are built.
Right? This is not new.
Yeah. Cultures are built around this basic primal desire, hunger that God has given men. But if men don't have it, then we're in trouble.
Right.
And civilization's going to crumble.
Yeah,
I
that's what's scaring me.
I remember talking with Pastor Wilson about courtship and dating and biblical dating, courtship. And he's saying it's just a man's honorable way of getting a woman in bed.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's those desires. All the desires are lining up rightly
Yes.
and healthily. And in this situation, we're saying that, that people aren't even wanting to get married.
Yeah.
They don't have those kind of desires. That we already just briefly mentioned this, but the sexlessness among young adults, 18 to 29, it's the next chart, DJ. Yep. Has actually increased over the last 24 years.
That's sort of the inverse of this. So
Yeah, that's right.
Sexlessness.
Yeah. Sexlessness. So it was a low or high point, however you want to talk about this. In 1990s at 15%, 12%, 2010, and then 2024, it's up to 24% of sexlessness among young adults.
So it's doubled. Sexlessness has doubled since 2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's fair. And then young adults, I guess related to this, they're talking about the socializing young adults, and it looks like 2004 or whatever they're trying to peg it to. Yeah, last 20 years it looks like to me. Apparently, young adults were socializing about 12 hours per week with friends, and now
I never thought about that, but I guess it's probably right.
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think about I mean, I guess they'd say probably maybe outside of school, obviously, not inside school, outside of school, else the hours would be up. And now it's about 5.1 hours socializing less.
I think it's even less than that.
Even
and
if you take
low point in COVID.
Right, I was going to say, that's only an hour more, less than an hour more a week than during COVID.
Yeah.
So,
they're not locked up.
Yeah. So 18 and 29-year-olds are still basically living like we're still in COVID. They're not coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. We haven't come back out.
We haven't come out of that yet.
Yeah. So our friend Bill's talking to us. Yeah.
Married adults. Married adults have more sex.
That's good.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
I don't know how that married adult chart, the women have more sex than men in that one.
I was wondering about that.
I was looking at that.
How does that work?
It's probably a percentage error would be my guess, in the study.
So, but this chart, for those of you who can't see it, you're on the podcast, you got about 40, upper 40% for married, almost 50%.
Yep.
Married people are saying they're having sex weekly. And again, who are these people taking these surveys? Do I trust them? Do they represent America? I don't know.
And unmarried.
But
I'm going to tell you.
But the unmarried is more like 33,
34% on average.
Yeah.
This question is weird. I agree with you, but it's not as weird when you look at it inside of the context of birth rate.
Okay.
Right? Because one produces the other, and if you don't have kids, it's because you're
Whoa, that's crazy, man. You're crazy now.
Just saying.
You're one of those radical right people, aren't you?
Yeah, it seems that way. Everybody keeps telling me that.
Well, and think through it this way. I mean, what's one of the lies why people don't get married is because I'll have more sex being single.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the lies.
Yeah.
Like I'm not tied to a ball and chain.
Right.
I'm not,
right.
I can have, if I can have sex with more people, I'm going to have more sex.
Right.
And what this is saying is the covenant. It's all about the covenant.
Actually, no. Yeah. It's not working. Talk about the birth rate though.
So what's happening right now in America, I think there's a huge article dropped, I believe it was from the Wall Street Journal too, that talked about the fact that America,
if we can trust the Wall Street Journal.
If we can trust
Okay, keep
them.
going. Sorry.
Yeah, I know, right. There's all that, all that caveat. But the birth rate has dropped lower now than 1.6.
In America? Lower than 1.6?
Lower than 1.6. So we've really, I remember it was hovering at 1.8, and now we're below 1.6.
I'm going to double check that.
So it's like 1.5 point.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Grok.
And change.
Yeah, if you can trust
You can't trust Grok.
He's referencing Wall Street Journal.
I know, it's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So what we're seeing, and this is, I think we're starting to feel it too. Remember we talked about the Sansdemic a while ago, and that was right around COVID.
So Sansdemic, for those of you that don't remember, has to do with just a population demographic collapse.
Yes.
Not having enough people to actually hold up civilization.
For as long as we've known, there's always been the next man up. Every generation coming, we know there's going to be a workforce here.
Right.
And so, but for the first time in America's history, we don't have next man up.
Right.
And so everybody is feeling the sting of this.
Right.
And so what they're doing is they're fighting over a smaller talent pool to try and get them into their companies or into their industries.
Well, colleges are feeling this. Colleges are starting to feel this because the vacuum, the lack of kids is starting to hit colleges.
Yep.
And there's just not as many people out there that they used to be able to draw from.
And so there's a couple things. So because the and so what a lot of people are trying to do, because of a lot of people seeing this coming, they've tried to backfill it with immigration.
Right.
Like they say, well, we need people. That's why you hear who's going to do your groceries, who's going to cut your lawn, who's going to be in the fields.
Produce.
Yeah, who's going to because they're saying they're not talking about the fact that they've been killing all of them. I read some stats because I was like, okay, what's the black birth rate right now? Because I was wondering where we're sitting at. We're like 1.6. Black people in America about 1.6.
1.6?
So
right
same?
now. Just general.
So basically the same as America.
The same. Running America parallel, right?
Do we have that chart on the
No, we don't.
side?
I would.
You nix that?
I didn't. I don't think we have the chart. I just was running it.
I thought, but DJ brought up a chart on.
Oh, he brought up the DJ
the Christian chart.
Screen grab that and show the Christian side of the birth rate because that's a different, whole different.
Yeah, it's
narrative.
a different set, but
I was running some numbers, and so we're at like 1.6. Black America is.
Okay.
And I said, okay, what happens if we were to backfill it with all the abortions that we've had? What would we be at? Yeah. What would be the birth rate? And it was at 2.4
for the black community.
Just for the black community, if we didn't kill our kids,
we'd be replacing ourselves.
If we didn't do anything else, if we didn't,
Yeah.
And I would like to change some things like prioritizing marriage and staying married, and then not giving your kids to government schools and being Christian and going to church. And there's a lot of things I like to prioritize.
Sure.
But if we did nothing else but just not commit murder with our own children, we would not be facing this current issue right now with being so. Black people are like, there is a lot of things that's like, okay, we need policy. I heard that. Thank you for grabbing that, DJ. They argue, you guys need better policy out there. You need to make sure that there's more opportunities for you. You need to have better economics. And it's like all the economics, all the things that you could change about having a replacement.
You don't have people and undo a darn thing.
Right. And you can fix it though. Like it's not like you need to change a law in order to be able to fix this problem. No. It's just a simple thing. Yeah. Just have kids. And not kill them.
Get married. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. And if you have kids,
you go baptize. And give them education to fear the Lord.
Yeah.
And so like that's just that simple. But if that's that simple for Black America, like it's just that simple for all of America. We don't have to change anything. We don't have to do one thing in the law. What we have is an absolute moral problem inside of America that's killing us.
Right.
And
we're just killing ourselves.
And what it's going to be backfilled by is that's the stats. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is evangelical. Oh, you don't have the. Yeah, I guess we can look at the bottom to find out. This is Christianity, basically.
Our birth rate.
Our birth rate, and we are at
including Jews and
this
atheists.
is religious birth rates versus the secularists.
Not just Christians.
Yeah. So you got atheists and agnostics.
So at the bottom you see from 0 to 2.
Yeah, I like how agnostics are actually worse than atheists.
Yeah, I know.
Like, we don't even know if we want to have kids.
Yeah. Are kids really real?
We don't know anything.
So I think Christians are like 2.2 or 2.4. Is that right, DJ? Evangelicals.
Yeah, 2.4. Yes. Evangelicals.
And then historically Black Christians.
Okay, they're up there.
They're right there. Yeah, so that's nice.
I'm just glad the Protestants are beating out the Catholics.
Yes, we need to do a little more.
Surprised.
And I'm grateful that the Protestants and Catholics are beating out the Jews.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm glad that all of them are over all the rest of them.
What was
the rainbow flag Protestants?
What was
the mainline Protestants?
Yeah. Oh, I got to find the
Let me add this to this. So Grok summarized some CDC stuff for us here. And it says the birth rate, also known as the crude birth rate. So this is a different angle here.
Yeah, okay. Crude birth rate.
In the United States is 10.7 live births per 1,000 people. So not married people per 1,000 people, your kids and everything.
Okay.
10.7 live births per 1,000 people. And they're, it looks like they're kind of also just, you can kind of do the rough math here saying if you have 3.6 million births recorded a year, which is, I think, about what we're at right now, and with a population of 340 million, which is where we're at, that's where you get that 10.7 live birth. But also, you think about it, let's say 500 of those people are married out of that 1,000, and we're at 10.7? 10.7 births?
Per 1,000?
Per 1,000? I mean, that is low.
What should it be? Can you figure out what that should be a replacement?
In terms of replacement, they're saying replacement is 2.1.
Yeah, but like, what is that to 1,000? I don't do math that well.
Me neither. I'm not even sure what.
Ask Grok. Ask it. Do the thing.
What's the actual question you want me to ask?
The actual question.
You're the prompter, man.
What should it be for replacement per 1,000?
There you go.
Ah, snap! I know the right questions. So while he's doing that, I'm gonna show you what the Muslims and the Hindus are at for birth rate.
Oh, no.
So let's start first with the Latter-day Saints.
Okay.
2.7.
The Mormons are beating the evangelicals.
Beating us out. Muslims,
Oof.
2.9.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, get ready to grunt a little more. Hindus, 3.0.
That's surprising. The Hindus are more than Mormons.
Hindus, 3.0.
Well, they believe in reincarnation, man. They're like,
Yeah.
So
go.
Buddhists, 2.3, and Orthodox Christians are at 2.2.
Yeah.
So in one sense, you already have an idea of the enemy your children are going to have to be dealing with and that you're going to have to be dealing with over the next 20 years.
Hindus, Muslims, and Mormons.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
That's our current enemy. Now, so one of the things that they did in this study was they started going to what they thought were the problems of why people are. So they say that people are not having sex because they're not actually having an interaction and engagement with other human beings.
Right. That's the lack of social engagement.
It's lack of social engagement, and they mark it at the start of 2010 with social media and the cell phone. So you got the cell phone really comes out in 2007. Well,
But-
not really. The Apple comes out in 2007 with the cell phone.
But full market adoption, let's say 2010 or
2010,
something like that. Yeah.
you get social media. You got all this stuff running.
Podcasting is already launched in 2009, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, you had radio, so I don't look at podcasting as being an effective reason not to create social gathering and relationships.
Right. You're talking about social media, like Facebook,
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay,
People
I
are
see.
giving their
Yep.
time.
Fair distinction.
So
Yeah.
it's replacing relational engagement,
Right.
face-to-face time, right?
Yeah.
And they call it the Great Rewiring.
Yeah.
And there's a guy by the name of Jonathan Haidt, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And I want to read his book, but it's called The Anxious Generation.
Right.
And he lists that in this moment of 2010, we started rewiring the brains of our kids through these social media platforms.
Those kids are now 20 or 2010, so they'd be 15 now.
15, 16,
Yeah.
and if whoever else came up in that, by the time,
well, and if
you're 7.
If you have a 12-year-old,
10-year-olds there, so
yeah.
they'd actually be 24, 25.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
So what they had a whole different experience, and I'll save the last one because I think it's the most powerful one. But he lists out 4 things that really, if you want to fix the problem from social engagement. First, let me say this. The social engagement side made it so they'd stop hanging out with friends. They didn't have an idea of how to communicate with other people very well, and they were left alone by themselves, looking inward on themselves from the cell phone.
Okay.
Right? So that was their thing. And so because of that, you have this decline. This is what they were trying to say in the article, too. You have this decline. Guys don't even know how to talk to girls anymore. You know, I found this out. This messed me up. Do you know that it's odd for a guy to be able to go to a girl and ask her for a number?
Who
Culturally, you're a creeper. When I was coming up, it was the coolest thing to be able to be a guy
Get your number.
and walk up to a table full of girls and pick out that girl and say, "Hey, how you doing? I saw you from across the room.
What's your
I'd love
number?
to be
I've
able to
lost
take-"
mine.
Yeah, like lines, but absolutely. It's and so now if a guy does that, he's like, oh, he's probably a creeper,
Yeah.
right? Like he's weird. It's odd to actually have that direct engagement. Instead,
So are you supposed to connect first through social media?
you
or
slide
something?
through those DMs, right? That's what you do, right? You know, if you see somebody's like step into somebody's,
You probably don't even say anything direct first. You first just send a
Start
GIF or something like that.
you know what? They like posts.
Yeah. I like the post.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
I saw you.
That communicate.
And then they send like, a reel.
Right.
Not saying anything.
Yeah, right.
Just that reel.
Yeah. Did you like it?
And so they've completely been rewired about how they
Interesting.
engage with each other on a face-to-face level.
Yeah.
And so he lists out 4 things that he thought would be helpful to try and change this. And one of those things was delay smartphone usage.
Right.
Right? Like just delay it.
Yeah.
The second thing was no social media before 16.
Okay.
Whatever it does to the brain.
And particularly probably in those like middle school, elementary years, like we need to master human interaction.
Yes.
Before we
before you get
do
this.
social media interaction.
Yeah. You take them and play with the toy guns before you start playing with the real guns.
I mean, that makes sense.
I guess you can see that.
Makes
I can
sense.
see that. I can
Okay.
see that.
Third?
The third thing is no phones in schools.
Okay.
Like, dot the end. Don't even do it. A phone-free school.
Yeah.
The fourth thing, which I thought was probably to me, I think this is, you could stop with this one, which is promote independent and free play and deeper relationships.
Yeah.
Right? Promoting that. And I thought about that. I was like, we used to roll around outside in our rollerblades all day long.
Oh, yeah.
Rollerblading in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the coolest thing, man.
I used to rollerblade too.
I
just didn't know that was
Was that a white thing?
Was that actually cool?
Toby thought it was a white thing.
No, I just didn't know it was cool. I mean, I thought it was cool, but I didn't know for sure if I was cool.
Hey, hooking on the back of buses and like.
See, we did it in downtown DC.
Oh, okay.
That's where we went. We would go down to DC and
Is that when you were living in Maryland?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So, but that'd
be a fun way to see DC.
Oh yeah, we just
whip
hung out.
around.
I mean, but the thing is, it's hilarious because like I didn't even like remember any of the buildings. I was just like we were looking for cool places to
hang,
skate.
yeah, exactly.
And, like, hang and
Yeah.
Basketball every day. We was outside. Football. Like my kids can't even get guys to go and play baseball outside. I'm like, we play baseball.
Hours of baseball.
So weird. Yeah.
Hours of kickball.
Yeah.
Hours of street.
Yeah.
Everything.
Organized sports is weird to me. So we
did both.
See, we didn't have to do both because we were doing so much unorganized football and stuff that we basically had our own leagues. Our blocks playing their block, my guys against your guys, and we had so much there. So by the time we got on a team, and this is something that I thought was weird too, by the time we got on a team to play as an organized team, we were already good.
Yeah.
They were just coaching us on how to play the game better. Yeah. But we got
kids now who get on an organized team because they need to learn
how the game is played.
How to throw the ball.
Oh my goodness.
How to catch. Right. Yeah. And I was like, wait a second, you guys don't know this stuff?
Already?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Like my dad playing catch was like a highlight. It wasn't like I had to learn it. I was just outside playing all the time. Yeah. And so you learned guys like that. You learned fellowship like that.
I think the other thing too missing, of course, in all this is, I mean, in the olden times, in the trad life, the church was the center of community life. You worshipped on Sunday, the Lord's Day, and you hung out afterwards. You had potluck dinners, and you hung out and you played out, outside of church. You had Bible studies. You had psalm sings. You had youth group night, whatever. Like you had all these things. You small groups, Bible studies in your house. There was far more natural human interaction at church or church life that had nothing to do with screens.
Man, Pastor, when I grew up, it was Tuesday night Bible study, Wednesday night prayer, Thursday night choir rehearsal, Friday night church service, Saturday night one more choir rehearsal, and then Sunday we were there at church literally all day.
And there's ways in which sometimes I think the churches have maybe swallowed up the life of people. Yeah. And our community has worked hard to try not to do that. Yeah. But I think in some places where it's like screens or church life. Yeah. It's like, whoa, they need the church life. Otherwise, that's all they have is the screens. If they don't know how to do family life, how to do community, having the church there to help structure that and teach them that is huge.
So I like his list. I think it's good. But
it's a very practical.
It's practical
list.
But I think that at the end of the day, this is part of the idea of being a masculine is provision. And I think when people think of provision, they normally just think of I got the bacon,
food on the table. Yeah.
But provision is actually having foresight for what's coming and being ready for it, whatever that is. And that means having a good understanding of where your family currently is and what's going on in your family, and to be able to guard against things that are there and see it coming before it actually becomes a problem. And so, oh man, my kids might hate me for this one. I think this is a good time for us. DJ's looking over there here you go. I think it's a good time for us to re-examine what's really going on in our families deeper than we typically do. Because my family has come a long way and God has been so kind to us and merciful to us, I have a tendency to think that the place that we are is the place we're supposed to be at. Because we've come so far. We're running out the door. We can't be on time for church. Got to get us on time for church. Yeah. Finally get us on time for church, and I stopped there. Like, oh, no, maybe if you got your family on time for church, why don't you figure out some ways to be of service? Yeah. Why don't you help with the communion? Why don't you help set up the chairs? Yeah. Why don't you help greet? Why don't you help do those things?
I'm like, finally, I saw Knox get on his knees and pray.
Boy, if you know me, I'm always on them jokers. And so, but because of that, we tend to say, okay, this is our challenge. We beat our challenge and we stay there. And so because of that, we don't then start looking at our families in a deeper way and see what else is going on. So recently there was an event where my daughter was coming to work and she said to her friend, hey, man, I'm sorry I was a little late. I had a problem getting stuff from the sock drawer. And the girl looked at her and was like,
Sock drawer?
What's a sock drawer? Like she's like, oh yeah, the sock drawer is in my parents' room. And so when we need to go get socks, I go in there and I grab socks. That's where all the socks are. And she's like, well, why don't you guys have your own socks individually so that you don't have to go and get socks from your parents? And there's a story behind that. I'm telling you, it was good. When kids are young, they lose socks. Oh, yeah. And there's usually like a place that we have them somehow.
No, I don't know of a good solution there. That might be a decent one.
But no, it's not. I'm going to tell you why in just a second.
Okay.
And so we gathered all the socks and made so, hey, early morning Sundays, nobody can find socks. All right, Daddy's going to fix this, right?
There's going to be one drawer.
There's going to be one drawer that I know there's socks in.
Yeah, I'm going to socialize the socks.
That's the point. So, but what it ended up doing was this socialization of the socks started making private property everybody's property.
Yeah.
Because the socks got socialized so that it's one place, no one has to then be responsible for the individual duties of getting their own socks, managing their own socks, taking care of their own socks, and getting them again so that they're ready. And then that bled over to people looking at other people's stuff that's not theirs and say, well, I guess since we use it here, I guess I can use your stuff there. Yeah. And what started happening in my house was I started having these weird kind of things like somebody has my stuff. Well, the private property thing hasn't been taught.
It got muddied.
Well. It got muddied.
You're filling in some details on America here for me right now.
Right.
It all goes back to the socks.
It all goes. And so this conversation with a friend made me re-examine. So my wife is hearing this conversation. She walks in and hears the conversation. And it was like really interesting. The parallels between the families was this family does better with private property and other people's stuff versus ours, who's like having this kind of problem where I'm having to police it a little differently. And so I said, that was helpful. Yeah. This little thing all of a sudden has a trajectory in other areas of my house that I'm trying to figure out, why do I have these little, and this is going on, why can't I get these kids, right? Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, now we're working through it biblically and lawfully and we're getting better, but there's an anchor here that if I fix this and all of a sudden teach my kids how to manage this little thing of socks, we all of a sudden restore private property and everybody caring about everybody else's stuff without just taking it automatically. Yeah.
Okay, now connect this to the sex recession.
What's happened? So what this?
He's got 7 kids. I got a lot of socks.
Yes. We are not always paying attention to how much what happens in our house affects the little things with our children. And so when we don't pay attention to our home, what ends up happening is that my kids, if I don't fix this problem, they're going to grow up with an idea of somehow everybody else's stuff or some parts of everybody else's stuff is theirs, right? And the sex recession thing is we have now our kids engaging with social media, engaging with smartphones, and doing things that we're not paying enough attention to.
Okay.
And those kind of things are going to have a fallout that we're not going to necessarily be ready for if
a ripple effect.
A ripple effect. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm saying is like you're going to have to go back into your home and re-examine everything in your home again because we don't do that. Once we get things on and they start operating like the sock drawer, it was working. But I wasn't paying attention to the fallout of what it was doing to the rest of the other areas of my family. Your kids have cell phones. Are they going outside and playing? Are you playing with your kids?
Outside,
right? Like, what are you doing? What are when's the last time you did something hard with your sons? Like, y'all did something hard. Have you built anything together recently? Mm-hmm. Like, are you guys working out together at all? Like, what are you doing that is putting your kids in a place where they're not losing their passions and desires to create and grasp and go after something, right? And so there are things that we can do in our family that don't promote a society that wants to go take dominion. And we think that I got my kids out of government schools. Right. They're going to Christian schools. We go to church on Sunday. We're taking communion. I've baptized my kids. I'm married. My family is good. And then we settle.
Yeah.
We settle and we think, I got it. That's good. No. You got to look, man. You have to look at what's the next level of ground for you and your family to be taking.
That's good.
Right? You have to do that. And what I'm looking at this list is he's examining what's led to this rewiring. There are all sorts of things that we need to rewire in our family that are really small, little small foxes that we don't even know the effect. There is no Bible verse that says has a sock drawer. Yeah. There's no Bible verse that says everybody has to have their individual sock. Yeah. But there's sin going on because I'm not the person paying attention to what's going on in my family.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
And so when I look at stuff like this, you can look at this list. That's a good list all you want to.
Yeah.
But
you're talking about his analysis of why this is happening.
Like delay smartphones, all this stuff.
Yeah,
But the real issue at the bottom, at the root of this, is the hearts of the people that you're discipling.
Right.
What are you doing to cultivate that?
That's right.
Right. That's what we're really talking about.
Yeah.
Have you something that really hit me? My wife does a fantastic job of examining our kids and their hearts in the direction in which their heart takes them. Right. And so then she really does cultivate each thing that she does for their hearts to mature them into a godly. And she does it so well that it's brought conviction on me to say, how am I thinking about that too? Right? Like, how have I thought about this person, their special gifts, and how to cultivate that into them a lot more so that they're becoming the people that God wants them to be, and I'm making sure that they're growing up into that.
Yeah.
And not just kind of like hands off.
Yeah.
Not just like, I got you all the good stuff, hope you do well.
Yeah.
When you come from such a broken family, it's really easy to look at the objective, the basic standard of, I got married, had kids, and then not.
Yeah.
I've done it.
And then coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I've arrived.
Right now, it's really interesting to me. I think our conference has kind of got the same thing going on with it too, where when you start talking about education, the people who start doing it, they're like, I did it. I got it. My kids are going to classical schools. They're going to classical conversations. We're homeschooling. We're doing all the things. We've got it. Look, you have to be that person too.
Yeah.
You need the education because your kids are not going to be out there fighting.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be out there fighting with you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pick the targets to shoot them into, which means you need to know a lot more than you currently do now, so that by the time they're at a mature level, you know where that target is supposed to be that you're shooting your kids to.
Yeah. You're highlighting like just kind of like my general, whenever I read a study like this, I always feel it's leaving out something big. And of course, I don't. Jonathan Haidt, I don't think he's a confessing Christian.
I don't think
but
so.
But I think he's become more conservative over the years.
You have to be when you look at this stuff.
When you start looking at that stuff, right? And so when I look at these studies, I look for the helpfulness of it, but they're always analyzing the surface of the issue. The causes are always surface. The solutions are always surface. Like, maybe don't give your kid a cell phone until 16, which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah.
But when I start, I want to go to what's like the, what's the foundation of this? I think your point about, in one sense, basically always growing in the Lord is really what you're getting at. Don't let yourself get stagnant. Always be looking for how you can grow. And especially when you're managing 7 kids. I got 3 kids. Like if you aren't leading the growth in your family's not going to grow.
Actively.
Right? Actively leading your family in sanctification and growth and reading the word and all that stuff. And so when I read this study, I was thinking, okay, why is this happening? According to the Bible, why is there a sex recession in America? And my first thought, we were talking about this yesterday, my first thought was, sex is one of the key areas that's constantly attacked in our society because it's one of the main areas that God has called us.
Be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah. Genesis 1, take dominion, be fruitful, multiply. It's one of the main, activities that God uses in marriage to fulfill our dominion mandate. And so if it's so central to our lives, then of course it's going to be one of the main areas that's attacked, constantly under attack. And of course in our society, it's being attacked on so many levels, from pornography, from pornography now to, sex robots, of course, divorce,
transgenderism,
marriage rates, transgenderism, abortion. I mean, it's being attacked everywhere. So what that, signals to me is that there's idolatry there with sex. And where there's idolatry, if you're worshiping, an impotent God, you're going to get an impotent sex life. You're going to get an impotent family or no kids, barrenness or abortion, or you're going to get what we have. I mean,
idols always break the hearts of their worshipers.
That's right.
Yep.
And so sex, and a lot of times we talk about sex because there's so much negativity going on in our society about it and so much sin that's wrapped up in it. But like, that's also Genesis 1. It's also like, I mean, sex in the context of marriage is fantastic. In fact, it's the foundation for the next generation of kids and church and leaders and presidents and all, So as we look at the idolatry around sex, well, there's always a response. There's always a response to that, and that's, worshiping God first, God being central in worship first, and then secondly, obeying. Well, what does obedience look like to God in the confines of marriage and especially on the topic of sex? So idolatry, I think, is absolutely broken our nation, and especially as it comes to the topic. So the reason, I would say, the summary, the real reason why we have a sex recession is because we have idolatry in our hearts.
Yeah.
And that idolatry is going to come out in practical ways. That's Psalm 115. You worship blind gods, you're going to be blind. You worship deaf gods, you're going to be deaf. You aren't going to see. You aren't going to hear. You aren't going to see the reality of how God actually intended sex. And it's so funny because like even the study kind of hints at some of this, like sex in marriage is going pretty well.
It's still, although they do point out in the study though, it's dropping.
There's still problems
because of social media and screen time, and so
it's
people
even affecting married couples
because they're spending the last 3 hours of their evening instead of with each other. They're on their cell phones.
Yeah, side by side, whatever. Instead of
I was thinking, Gabe, as you're talking. I read this just a couple days ago, but in Ezekiel 20, there's this really striking couple of verses. And it actually ties into what you're talking about, but this is Ezekiel 20 at verse 24. It says, because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes and polluted my Sabbaths, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. So that's the charge. They did not execute God's judgments. They despised God's statutes. They polluted his Sabbaths, and their eyes went after their fathers' idols. It says, wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. I just find that
judgments whereby they should not live.
Yeah, I just find that striking. So God says part of the judgment is I'm going to give you laws that are not good. Like, if you ever think about that, like God, like part of his judgment is to give you laws that are not good. And then he says, and judgments whereby will not live. So like even laws, like I think arguably, like God was like, okay, you hate kids?
Abortion.
Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
You hate kids? Whatever.
Transgender surgeries.
Yeah, Obergefell.
Yeah.
Like what was it that Jeff Schaefer talks about, that you wanted to have sex without any consequences, consequenceless sex?
Yeah.
You want to do that?
Which is what was decades before.
Get rid of the kids?
Abortion became rampant. Was a largely Christian culture that said we don't want kids.
Yep.
Or we only want them when we want them and how we want them. We'll
decide.
And we want to be God of that.
That's really good.
But it's not done. So number one, you reject God's laws, reject his Sabbaths, you go after your father's idols.
That's the first four commandments, by the way.
Yeah. I'm going to give you bad laws that will make your lives miserable and in which you cannot live.
Wow.
And then it says, and I polluted them in their own gifts, in that they caused to pass through the fire all that opened the womb. God says, I will pollute you. He's cursing them. Like, I will curse you in order that in your own gifts. I think he's talking about the kids, your kids. I'm going to make your kids a curse in that they will cause them to pass through the fire. So that's sacrifices to Molech. That's abortion.
Yeah.
That I might make them desolate. So when God is mad, and when his judgments come, part of what he does, he says, okay, you don't want my fruitfulness? I'm going to make you barren. I'm going to make you desolate. I'm going to make you sexless.
Yeah.
I'm going to make your marriages lame and sexless. I'm going to make your lives impotent.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it so you can't walk 5 feet without seeing an ED commercial.
Wow. You better preach up in
because,
here.
That's right.
Like God's like, I'm just going to surround you with Viagra commercials. Just reminding you all day long.
That are not for old men, by the way.
I know. No.
These are all for young men.
Yeah. I'm going to surround you with reminders
the commercials
all day long.
Started off with older people
I know.
And it got younger. The actors got younger.
But like all those advertisements, it's like, I'm going to surround you with it all day long to remind you that you are utterly impotent. You have no testosterone.
Yeah.
Like you're desolate. And God says he does that. He says, to the end that they might know that I am the Lord. So the idea, I mean, so
that's sobering for America.
So God sends these kind of judgments. So he's like, okay, you don't want me? This is what it's going to be like.
You sit in church week after week, embracing the truth of God's word. You believe the gospel and claim Jesus Christ as your Lord. Yet you continue to struggle with pornography. You feel like a hypocrite, returning to the sin you hate that mocks the God you love. You desperately wonder, is lasting freedom even possible? Yes, you can overcome pornography, but not alone. 2 Timothy 2:22 says, "Now flee from youthful lusts and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart." Only by repeatedly running from sin to Christ with other believers can you hope to enjoy lasting freedom. You can live with purity and integrity. Take courage, seek accountability, and do whatever is necessary. Get equipped at accountable2you.com.
Lord have mercy.
No children, no fruitfulness, no happiness, no sex, no joy. And I'm gonna make you lonely and isolated.
Yeah.
But the point isn't, God doesn't want us to stay there. The point is, he says, so that you would say, oh my God,
help us.
Help us.
Yeah.
What have we done?
Yeah.
It didn't used to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. He is the God of fruitfulness. He is the God that opens the womb. He is the God who gives the delight of covenant lovemaking, covenant intimacy. Like he gives that gift and the gift of children that goes with it. But you can't take some part of the gift and tear it out and say, I want it this way.
Yeah.
God won't put up with that.
Yeah.
So I think you're absolutely right. I think judgment this is God's judgment on our land.
Yeah.
I also think in a certain respect, this is one of those things, like this is a plague. Like this is a plague on our land.
Come on.
And God in his mercy always provides a Goshen.
Yes.
He distinguishes between his faithful.
Yeah.
There's always a remnant.
Yeah, that's right.
And everyone else is going pell-mell off the cliff under God's judgment. And so there's always the invitation, come back. Mm-hmm. There's always an invitation, come over to Goshen where there's light. Mm-hmm. When the plague of darkness fell on Egypt, there was light in Goshen. When the plagues fell after the first few, it clearly says that God distinguished between the land of Egypt and the land of Goshen. And I think it's the same thing here.
Yeah.
And there's pockets of this all over the country where people have said, no, I'm not doing that.
Yep.
I'm rejecting that way of thinking. I'm rejecting that way of living. I want to embrace what God says about our sexuality. I want to embrace what God says about what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, what marriage is, what children are, what generations are, what community is, what real life is. Mm-hmm. And those are places where the light's shining.
Yeah.
And where that fruitfulness, I think, is still going. I mean, it's kind of it's mild, but I would say even the fact that you can still see evangelical birth rates as higher than all the others is like it's a little
right.
And I know that a part of that is some really, really faithful communities in evangelicalism
picking up the pace.
Where it's like in a community like ours where I'm like, well, I only have 4. I tried, but God is good, and I'm gonna have more grandkids, but you almost apologize, but it's like, and there are other faithful communities that are welcoming children, that are raising them in the fear and admonition of the Lord. But I want to piggyback on what you said a minute ago about examining your own house, examining your sock drawer.
Yeah,
we're just gonna use that as that's a standing cross politic analogy now.
Get the sock drawer out your room.
We need to talk about the sock drawer, okay? And everybody, if you've been watching, then you know what we're talking about. If you don't, you're like, what are they talking about? The sock drawer? Hey, you need to find that episode. It's this one. Here's my 4 things. I got 4 things.
Okay, I like
Jonathan
this.
Haidt did 4 things. I'm gonna do 4 things, and these are things to check.
Let's go.
So this you said you need to check your family, you need to check your house, you need to check your sock drawer. You want to be cultivating in your house a culture that incentivizes confidence. and boldness. You talked about earlier about how young men apparently are afraid of asking for numbers, asking a girl out. Yeah. And it's all couched. And you know what that is? It's when we were talking, we were joking about sending messages and gifts and reels and anything but a direct approach. It's totally effeminate.
Yep. Thank you, feminism.
Okay? Like that is gay.
Yep.
And no wonder we have a bunch of guys that end up gay.
Yep.
I mean, no wonder you end up with marriages that suck, that that are not happy. That it's because, but part of that happens in Christian houses that are so concerned about doing it right. And it's this weird thing where it's like, well, of course we care about doing things right, but what that can frequently translate into is you're most concerned about making sure you're on time for church. Oh,
right.
Yeah. And your shirt's tucked in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And nothing's hanging out.
Come on now.
And it doesn't look too rough around the edges.
Yeah. Yep.
And what you can frequently be raising is, I mean, legalism is one problem, but another problem is you can be raising a bunch of wusses. Particularly among the
joyless wusses.
Among the boys. The boys are only concerned about coloring inside the lines.
Yep.
And not upsetting anybody. And it's like, no, you need to cultivate a culture in your home and in your community of confidence and boldness, which means that sometimes in order to do that, you have to let them say things and do things that aren't quite right.
Right.
Now they need the correction, but what happens is frequently it's rather than saying, the boy rushes in and, I don't know, spills a bunch of stuff and because he's telling mom that something bad is happening.
Right.
Well, he gets, eaten, swallowed alive because he spilled something and trumped mud in on the carpet, but he was doing something faithful and good to come in and tell mom that something bad was happening outside.
Yeah.
And it's like, he needs super praise for coming in like that. And hey man, next time try to keep an eye on the carpet.
Can I just point out, I just got done, I just want to piggyback on that real quick. Where you see this at, where I just recently saw this at was I saw Joe Rigney have a conversation with Ray Ortlund.
Yeah.
I hit my head against the wall multiple times watching that.
Was it Ray?
The
old guy?
No, I'm sorry. Gavin Ortlund.
Yeah.
Sorry, his son, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I saw, what it looked like to me is you see Pastor Wilson having this fight against this feminist group that are coming to attack our kids, and he's fighting them.
Right.
And the way that he's fighting, somebody says, don't hit the bully like that.
Right, yeah.
You can't go after the bully like that because it's messy.
Yeah, right.
Right? And he's the kid
And you're
running
attacking her body.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No. What he did was he said, I just named what she did to herself.
Exactly.
That's all he did. But regardless, you're exactly right. That's a great example of what I'm talking about. It's like you need to be more okay with your kids and particularly your sons.
Yeah.
Being bold, maybe even just saying things, and it needs to be I don't mean not to incentivize rashness and irresponsibility, but boldness doesn't wait for permission.
That's right.
If you're raising a bunch of sons that only ask for permission, you will get COVID again and again and again.
Amen.
Because all they were trained to do is follow the rules. Okay? You want them to love the law of God, and there's got to be a certain part of them that is like just constantly suspicious about the rules of men.
Yep.
And that's things like, politeness rules, how what you do inside rules and all this. And again, I'm not saying we need to live like barbarians.
No.
But you want to cultivate a culture of boldness.
That's right.
Courage. And when you see it, here's the thing. For 25 years, it's going to look messy.
Yeah.
And you need to be good with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you don't correct it, but you got to see this is how we win. We have to have a culture of boldness. That's a culture of testosterone.
That's right.
That's a culture of real masculinity. Secondly, we need to cultivate a culture then that respects and honors that strength.
I was going to say that, Pastor.
Okay? So you got to, first of all, cultivate a culture that allows for it. But I'm taking this another step forward. You need to praise it.
That's right.
Yep. I tell my wife, this is a fourth grade. She teaches fourth grade. And I tell her, she's Logos every year has to give like awards to the boys and the girls for different things. And I tell her, if you give, the godliest young man award to a young boy who does not have pink slips, you're failing.
Yeah. Yeah.
he has got to have pink slips.
Yeah.
Because he's not messing up. If he's not messing up, he's not godly.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, no, you need to have the Luther instinct of, sin boldly.
Well, then my son Cash should get.
He's really godly. He's really godly.
My sons are like, say that again. Praise God.
Praise God.
If he's never getting his name on the board,
Yeah.
he is not godly.
Yeah.
He is not. Because, again, who are all God's favorite people?
Right.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Samson.
Yeah.
David. Paul.
Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You're not, only Jesus did it perfectly. And, of course, he got his name on the board anyways.
Yeah, because there's a sin in the right direction, right?
Yeah, that's right. Sin in the right direction. Third, we need to cultivate a culture that stops letting the sins of women off the hook. So this is the other side. But we have been trained that we must be, there's only kid gloves and don't correct women.
Yep.
And I mean this across the board. I mean this with your daughters. You need to correct your daughters. You need to discipline your daughters. Yes, honor her as the weaker vessel. Honor your wife as a weaker vessel. But honoring her as a weaker vessel does not mean giving her a pass. It does not mean letting her sin go. It does not mean not correcting.
That's
now,
right.
In order to do this well, you have got to love them well.
Yeah.
You've got to put the money in the bank.
Yeah.
You've got to hug. You've got to kiss. You've got to compliment. You've got to pour on that love. You've got to have that money in the bank in order to write those checks. But you've got to write those checks. In general, and this is hard. This is hard to do. But in general, what men do is either they just let women off the hook. That's too hard. You correct them. They'll cry.
They don't want to deal with the
push back,
fallout.
whatever.
They're going to be mad at you.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
And so you have the one, and they just check out.
And if the man can't handle the pushback, that's a problem.
Too. But then the opposite is some men will hear something like this and be like, "Yeah, I've been trying to correct her, and it's everything's a mess. My daughter hates me. My wife's angry at me. We just keep fighting. Okay." Return to what I said before. You've got to pour the love on. You've got to put the money in the bank, and then when you put the money in the bank, and you correct, and they get mad and they push back, you stand there, and you keep loving them in the correction.
That's right.
Without losing your temper, without saying a single harsh word, without making fun of them, without belittling them. But you stand there with love, and you say, "But this is wrong, and it must stop."
Yeah.
But we've got to cultivate a culture that corrects women and doesn't let women off the hook.
Yeah.
Our failure to correct women is a failure to love them.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it is actually completely dehumanizing. We need to lovingly correct our daughters and our wives.
It's dereliction of duty. That's right.
Because they bear the image equally with us.
Yeah.
They bear the image of God equally with. They are co-heirs of the grace of life together with us. How dare you not love them enough to correct them?
Yeah.
Fourth, marriage is a sexual covenant, and it is a sin to withhold sex. When you stood there at the altar, when you said I'll marry you, when he knelt down and he said, "Will you marry me?" You were asking her. Gabe actually said this earlier. He said, a godly dating, godly courtship is basically an honorable way of asking a woman if at the right time and under the right circumstances, will you please sleep with me
For life.
Yeah, for life. And that's courtship is seeing, is this the right one? Is this God's blessing? And when the marriage comes, when the wedding day comes, that's what you're promising to do. Yes, life together, all of life together, but that also means a faithful covenant of lovemaking.
Yeah.
The Bible addresses this straightforwardly. 1 Corinthians 7 says that you are not to withhold those marriage rights from your wife, from your husband.
Right.
And so this is not an option. This is not an option for Christian couples. This is just ground zero. This is the marriage bed, Hebrews says, is holy. It's holy.
That's right.
And that means, of course, that's not to be defiled. by adultery and pornography and sexual immorality, but it also means that it's actually glorious to God. It's sanctified by God. And that means that your failure to make love regularly within the covenant of marriage is a failure to participate in that holiness.
Yeah.
Like you are denying sanctification to your spouse and to yourself.
Yeah. That's right.
When you say, no, I'm just too tired. No, I'm just not feeling good. I'm just not feeling up to it.
Yeah.
And of course, be kind to each other. be gracious to each other. Yes, of course. But it ought to be normal.
Yeah.
It ought to be normal. It's if this is part of the holiness of marriage, part of the sanctity of marriage, it ought to be normal. And if it's not normal, if it's extraordinary, if it's not ordinary, something is terribly wrong. And so we need a culture that recognizes that when we go to a wedding, what we are witnessing is the vows of a couple that is swearing to make love faithfully and regularly for the rest of their lives.
That permeates the home.
Yeah.
And it goes outside of the home. I did a show with Shamika Michelle this past week, and she talked about the fact that she was raped. She's a product of rape. And so she's
a product.
She's a product of rape. Yeah.
Was she? But you said she was raped?
No, she was a product of rape.
Okay.
And so she didn't have a dad in the home.
Yeah.
And so she didn't have any idea that how family was supposed to be structured and ordered. Right. But there was this neighbor lady who that would make biscuits and food and be outside waiting for her husband to come home to kiss him. Right? And she could tell that whatever was going on there was so rich that it permeated out all the way outside of the home, that she saw that and said, oh, that's what normal looks like. Right. That's what joy looks like. That's what
love looks like.
Exactly.
But she was cooking outside.
Yes, right.
Because it was cooking inside.
Come on now. You
know that, right?
Come on now.
I mean, I'm not a black preacher, but I try sometimes. But it's absolutely right. And the opposite is also true.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a bunch of, there's Christian marriages where the couple thinks they're making it, even though it's all dried and shriveled up on the inside.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Yep.
And it's bitter.
Yeah.
And
we're together.
Yeah. And they're like, we're together. And we love each other. And, and I give her a little kiss on the cheek and, and I say nice things to her here and there, but it's like, there's nothing there.
Yes.
Intimacy wise. No. It's everything else is colored by that. You don't know what you lost. You don't know what is missing. Right. You don't know how that's coloring everything. And I think sometimes, if you're actually honest, it's coloring everything. Mm-hmm. But that that's like saying I'm a Christian and I don't go to church. No, you don't. Like if you're not regularly gathering with God's people, if you're not celebrating with God's people, if you're not hearing the word preached, if you're not taking the sacrament, there's a coldness inside. The marriage bed is like the sacrament of your marriage. What's going on there is a litmus test of what's going on in the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. And this is a place where, again, there really needs to be light in Goshen.
Yeah.
This is a place where, especially when, you see a study like this, regardless of how weirded out I am by it.
Yeah.
I would say, nevertheless, at least one takeaway would be, all right, Christian married people, you need to lean in.
Yeah.
Love your spouse.
Yeah.
Love your kids, and have family life.
Yes.
That shines like that.
Yeah.
Have those biscuits out on the front porch.
Yeah.
As a sign of the warmth and the light that's inside.
That's right.
I remember when we were in South Carolina, we lived in this apartment complex, this really, really diverse, apartment complex, people from all over South America, Central America, and we were right next to the playground. And every night my wife would make dinner, and we would sit down at the dinner table, and our porch opened up and it was like glass doors and then a little porch, and then there was the playground just right out there. And we'd sit down for dinner, and all these little faces would come up, and they'd look over, like, "What you doing?"
Yeah, right.
and it was like, it's like they'd never seen a family sit down for dinner together. And and sometimes my wife would just start serving up bowls of soup and be like, here, you want to buy, have some bread, have some, but this is a glorious moment if you think about it.
Yeah.
To be a follower of Jesus Christ when it's dark like this,
testimony gets real easy.
Your light is way brighter.
Yeah.
So this is a moment for this, what it's going to take though is it's going to take you being a man, and you being a woman, and you embracing those callings, and you delighting in those callings.
Yeah.
Back to the incentivize boldness. Let your husband be bold.
Right.
Yeah.
Let him be rowdy.
Yeah.
Let it be ragged around the edges. Does he love God? Does he love Jesus?
Yeah.
Let him. And lead your family and be bold and don't take things personally. Don't I know you're underappreciated.
Yeah.
I know you're not respected. And sometimes you think my wife doesn't even respect. I know. And this is a place where you love like Christ.
Yeah.
Who laid his life down and died. You can only do it if you have Christ. It's only if you're looking to Christ day after day and saying, okay, I'm following you, Christ, and it doesn't matter what my wife thinks, in a sense. It doesn't matter what my kids think. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I'm following you, Christ. And of course, you got to love and you got to give and you got to serve.
Yeah.
But it's all about that, and that's the only way you're going to be able to lay your life down is by following Jesus and looking to him and trusting that if you are in him, there is nothing that dies that won't be brought back to life.
That's right.
If you lay it down in service to Christ, God will raise it up. He raised up his son Jesus from the dead. He will raise you up from the dead as well. In a garden long ago, our first parents fell to the dark Lord's deception, sparking a cosmic war between light and darkness. Today, that battle rages in the hearts of the young, future warriors in a struggle as old as time. Dark forces cloak their lives in promises of peace, wielding imperial government schools to mold children into minions of a godless empire. But hope rises. Nearly 10 million kids have escaped, trained by parents in faithful Christian schools in the ways of the light, and the resistance is growing. So join the rebellion. Join Fight Laugh Feast 2025 this October 16th through the 18th at Rocketown in Nashville, Tennessee. Train the young to launch them into battle. The Spirit is with us. Christendom's war begins anew. Go to fightlaughfeast.com. Register today. We got Doug Wilson, George Grant, Ben Merkel, David Bonson, Larry Taunton. I'm going to be there. Knox is going to be there. Gabe's going to be there.
That's right.
Virgil Walker's going to be there. It's going to be a party. We got beer and psalms. We got all kinds of hangout time afterwards.
Cigars.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be great. So go to fightlaughfeast.com and sign up today.
If you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.